Hey ratbags, it's Jade. Welcome to another boss farming guide. Today, how to pretty much farm Ghorm. Ghorm has some interesting drops, but a lot of them do work in tandem with the next boss after, which of course is the Hive Mother. Combined, you do get sets of equipment with both of these. So something to bear in mind, but I'm going to talk through all the drops that you get from Ghorm. So here it is in the inventory box. You can see these are the guaranteed drops that you get. You always obviously get Ghorm's horn to activate the core. Then you're guaranteed to get at least 20 larvae meat. So really obviously super useful for regaining health. And you're also guaranteed to get Ghorm's stomach bag. This will increase your inventory by 12 slots. And of course the mysterious idol, so that you can then have the second NPC come and live with you. You may have already found the actual NPC floating around. You'll come across him and he's usually in like a square surrounded by water. So you could go ahead and buy stuff from him there, but if you do want him to come and actually live with you, then you do obviously need to go ahead and put the idol that you get from defeating Ghorm. So they're the 4 guaranteed drops that you'll always get. After that, it's a random chance whether you'll get some of these. Ancient gemstones, of course, and mechanical parts, maybe a little bit of fibre, maybe iron ore, gold ore. And if you're really lucky, you might get a chance to get golden larvae meat. Now, if you take a look at some of the wikis, they do list percentage chances of what you get, but I find that some of them look a little bit unreliable and there's definitely conflicting information. And as the game progresses, I'm sure they'll be adjusted. But supposedly, the Flintock Musket is only about 5%, the Larvae Chest 10%, and the Tin Axe 10%. So you may have to face him off a good maybe 6 to 10 times to get some of these. So we've got the Larvae Ring, that's going to give you 21 max health, and it's obviously part of a set. And it does mean that when you've got the full set of these, you get immune to being slowed by slime. Problem is though, the Grub Egg Necklace, that's the one that you need, and you can only get that via maybe some lucky drops from defeating enemies. It's like a really tiny small percent chance, but likelihood is that the better chance is getting it from defeating the Hive Mother. So I did get my Larvae Ring from defeating Ghorm, but I'm pretty sure I got the Grub Egg Necklace from actually farming my little grubs that I've got. It's another reason why you do want to kind of set something up like this as soon as possible to hopefully generate stuff. Just put some of the chrysalis on the floor, some spikes around, leave it in the dark. You don't actually have to have these walls. You can put water around it if you really want, or some fence posts, but obviously something they can't break through. But yeah, that seems to do the trick. And just to show you how they work, you can see I'm not being slowed down by slime. So really great. If you get both of these, it makes the job of actually farming Ghorm a lot easier. So it's well worth, possibly, before you start farming Ghorm massively, see if you can get the Grub Egg Necklace. There's a couple methods to guarantee killing him. You can set a whole bunch of traps, like 50 or 60 of them in front of him, and time it well. The initial damage will do enough that they will make Ghorm kind of turn around and fight you in that one spot. But you do lose the traps. I do believe he destroys them. Or you can go and place bombs, that's another method. But to be honest, the best method is just simply chasing him. You just need a combination of either the speed ring that you can get, or a feather, or possibly one of the foods that you get that have bell peppers in them, as these will give you a speed boost as well. As long as you've got a ranged weapon as well, just to keep hitting him, then it shouldn't be an issue. But yeah, it might be worth waiting and seeing if you can get the Grub Egg Necklace before you really start farming, if you do want some of the other items that haven't dropped yet. After the golden larvae though, you will then get maybe the larvae chest. This bad boy gives you 27% max health, 14 armor, 28 mining damage. Although again, you do take a reduction in your speed. It's derpy as hell, it's a bit nightmarish, ain't gonna lie. But again, if you get the second part, which you can only get maybe if you're very lucky by drops, but seemingly by killing the next boss, then that set will actually disguise you with larvae. The grubs basically will leave you alone. And after that, we've got the Tin Axe, which gives you a little bit more range. 107 to 129 melee damage. It's slower, but it's meant to take on more multiple enemies, as it seemingly has a bit more of a arc when hitting. You can see there the distances when killing 2 enemies. It can actually reach out quite a few. So again, really perfect if you have come across too many slimes like this everywhere. Then you can go ahead and clear them out pretty easy and quickly using it. But obviously even more useful taking on the grubs, especially the small little ones. And then finally we've got the Flintock Musket. Now obviously you can buy one of these from the NPC as soon as you get them to move in with you. So yeah, it's something you don't have to worry about farming as much. As long as you've got the NPC there, you should be able to go and buy one. And of course you do get access to ancient gemstones, mechanical parts, and of course the summon idols, so that you can actually go and farm these creatures more. As well, of course, as bread and the heavy iron necklace. And the scroll, if you didn't know, you need to find the maze to get clear gems and a few other items before you can craft the sword that comes with it. Anyway, back to the flint musket. 165 to 201 range damage. It is one of the most powerful weapons in the game, but its slow speed means it's kind of a bit nerfed compared to some of the other stuff. But yeah, it's also really great for taking on Ghorm. Like I said, this, the feather, maybe a pepper food, and should be able to keep up with him firing shots, no problem. Even without the full set of Grub armor. And then the last one again, which I haven't got just yet, even though I've done it about 4 or 5 times now, does look like it's very rare with maybe only a 2 to 3% drop rate, is the Ghorm figurine. And of course, once you've got Ghorm's horn, you can go ahead and unlock the core and get new items as well, including the carapace armor set and the recall idol. 27% max health and 15 armor for the breastplate, and 17 max health and 10 armor for the helm, with both of them giving you increased explosive damage. When you've got both of them on, give you 15% extra explosive damage, which could be good for taking on Malagus, really, if that's one of the methods that I'm thinking about now, is using bombs. The set bonus that you get does increase the damage that you do after mining a wall. So at first I thought, oh, this isn't that great. Like, how often do you run into too many enemies that you might not just use your sword? But it does also mean that you get increased damage with your pickaxe. So when equipping this, facing off against grubs and larvae, it does mean that you'll be able to get mining points while killing creatures, I do believe. And it obviously means you won't have to switch weapons and maybe even free up an inventory slot. You can see there, you do a little bit more extra damage. Obviously I'm using the ancient pickaxe, but it does mean that I can kill even spiky slimes with 1 hit rather than 2. As long as you have obviously mined a piece of wall. And you can obviously go and buy lots of recall idols, which is super great for getting you around. The only other last thing I guess we can talk about obviously with the summoning is that it does cost 500 credits. They've recently nerfed how much you get for selling some of the ores. So you won't get as much back as you used to. So you may want to still consider going to another map and seeing if you can just find Ghorm that way. Unlike Glurch the Slime, which is pretty easy to farm by going to other worlds, because it's always so close to the core, the circle's always so close, but actually the spawn point where you find the summoning point, that could be absolutely anywhere around that circle. And the effort in digging all the way through certain biomes just to get to the circle and then run around the circle, that's a lot of effort to go ahead and farm. There is one bonus to that though. If you time it right, you can actually use Ghorm to really go and dig a way through lots of areas. Especially if you time it right and it's close to a stone biome, or perhaps even better, somewhere where there's clay or some of the grubs. So that's one aspect to consider if you are going to try farming him. Make sure you're doing it somewhere where you're going to get some actual resources that are maybe a little bit harder to get hold of, or simply take up more time mining. You can even time it, following him around the circle. If you know he's low on health, just wait till it gets to a point where you really want him to do more damage. But obviously make sure it's not anywhere close to some outpost or somewhere you've built. The optimal way to do it is to get the larvae ring and the grub necklace. So you go over the slime, but failing that, as I said, use a feather and just any foods that have extra movement speed. And there we go, that's how you farm Ghorm. Once you've got the larvae ring, the larvae chest, and maybe the tin axe, you don't really need to do any more farming of him. You'll stand better chance of getting golden meats just by increasing your farming of the grubs. And as I said, we can buy the actual flintock from the NPC, as well as all the other bits. If you found this useful, do leave a like, check out the rest of my boss farming guides, and I'll see you rat bags later.